The holidays start here at Kroger with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. You could do a classic herb-roasted turkey or spice it up and make turkey tacos. Serve up a go-to shrimp cocktail or use Simple Truth wild-caught shrimp for your first Cajun risotto. Make creamy mac and cheese or a spinach artichoke fondue from our selection of Murray's cheese. No matter how you shop, Kroger has all the freshest ingredients to embrace all your holiday traditions. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hi, I'm Daniel Hill, and welcome to my Instagram Stories Flash Briefing. You can find me on Instagram at Daniel Hill Media. I share the news and tips and tricks you need to know about in order to build a following on Instagram. Here's today's news. Today in the news, Hailey Bieber, also known as Hailey Baldwin, came back on Instagram to tell everyone that being off Instagram was the best thing ever. She said, "Whenever I take breaks from it, I feel so much better. So much happy as a person. The second I come back on, I get immediate anxiety, I get sad, and I get worked up." She continued, "It's hard to focus on your well-being and mental health when each time you open Instagram, someone is tearing apart your job or your relationship or essentially any of the things in your life that are positive. I just don't believe we're called to live a life where we're so easily caught up in strangers' opinions on something they have nothing to do with." The quote continues, but I'll stop there because you get the point. Essentially, don't use Instagram to tell people negative things. If you don't know the people and you want to express an opinion on their life, keep it to yourself. That's the shortest and easiest way to say it. However, this does point to some of the larger issues that do occur on social media, which frankly we can't ignore. If you haven't read it before, I recommend a book by Jean Twenge called iGen, Why Today's Super-Connected Kids Are Growing Up Less Rebellious, More Tolerant, Less Happy, and Completely Unprepared for Adulthood, and What That Means for the Rest of Us. It's a very long title, but a really interesting book about the effects that social media has had on the generation that has grown up entirely with social media. Now you can argue for the good or the bad that it has, and certainly there are truth on both sides of the coin, but if you have children and you are deciding whether or not to allow them on social media, excellent book to check out. And now on to today's question of the day. The questions are read by my wonderful wife, Lauren, who in her regular job is an inside sales account manager.
Today's question, how do you feel when someone unfollows you on Instagram?
When someone unfollows you on Instagram, it can be really tempting to be offended by this, especially if they're a person or a colleague that you consider a good friend, someone that you feel you have a good relationship with. The problem is that just because you have a good relationship in the real world does not necessarily mean that you automatically have a good relationship in the online world. They may not necessarily like all of your posts or how often you post, or they may feel that they get enough of you in regular life, which is okay too. Online world and social world are not the same as the real world. We do have to recognize that to a certain extent. There are apps that let you see who has unfollowed you, but I recommend not looking at those. They're just going to aggravate you and frustrate you and make you wonder why certain people have unfollowed you, and that's not really anything that someone should have to justify. So if someone does unfollow you and you notice about it, focus on being as good a friend or contact for them in real life, and don't sweat the fact that they've unfollowed you on Instagram. That's all for today's Flash Briefing. Thank you so much for listening. If you have a question you would like me to answer, please send me an email, daniel@danielhillmedia.com. If you send me a voice memo, I'll include your voice memo as part of the question that I answer, or you can send me a direct message at Daniel Hill Media. Thanks so much for listening.